Hi my lovely people, welcome to another video. In this video, I want to share with you my favorite, best of the best niche fragrances for spring. I don't do spring summer fragrances usually. Sometimes there are fragrances I would wear spring and summer, but I have my favorites for spring specifically, and then I have my favorites for summer because I like to wear super light, fresh fragrances, refreshing fragrances hot summer days, whereas spring is different. There's still a little bit of slight crispness in the air, that slight coldness, not cold, but it's not too warm yet. Boy, this year do I have some amazing niche fragrances. So if you want to see what they are and hear my thoughts on them, continue to watch. So y'all, before we get started, I wanted to quickly remind you that time is running out to submit a testimonial for me for Sephora Squad 2022. As you all know, I applied for Sephora Squad 2022 and I need y'all's help. I need you all to submit a short comment / testimonial telling Sephora why you like my videos, why Sephora should pick me to be one of their brand ambassadors or a Sephora Squad member. I would really appreciate it. I will leave the link down in the description box. It will be the first link down in the description box. Thank you all. So I decided to bring you all of my niche fragrances for spring in one video, whereas the designer fragrances, I split them into two videos. I already uploaded the favorite designer floral fragrances. I will link it up here and down in the description box. Definitely where I live here in the United States on the East Coast, we get all 4 seasons, and spring is definitely very different from summer. Spring is not too warm yet. There's still a slight coldness in the air, just a hint, and there's this crispness in the air, just crisp air. It's hard to explain. So I like to wear a separate set of fragrances in spring, and for hot summer days, I have my favorites as well. So I don't usually lump them together because the 2 seasons for me are different. But if you live in a warm climate, it would be different for you. In the fluctuations in the weather, probably not much. So you may have spring summer fragrances that you like to wear all year round. So I understand that. I have my spring favorites, and I don't just randomly pick a bunch of fragrances that are sort of like spring and summer. I have very specific fragrances that work really, really well in the springtime. Boy, do I have the motherload of spring niche fragrances here for you all. I don't even know where to begin. So I think I'm gonna start with this one right here. This one is a beautiful white floral fragrance by Diptyque. This is Dosan. This one I bought in New York City when I was there for my birthday with my family. You probably saw the vlog. In the vlog, I bought this. You can see me buying this in my vlog. In my birthday vlog, I will link it up here and down in the description box. Oh, this one is a beautiful, creamy white floral fragrance. It's quite fresh too, but there's a very nice creaminess to this fragrance. This has a beautiful creamy tuberose in here that I absolutely love. You guys know I love wearing creamy white floral fragrances in spring. For example, my spring designer fragrances, my spring floral designer fragrances video, I mentioned Rouge Malaquite, which is another beautiful creamy white floral for spring, a designer one that I absolutely adore. This one is along those same lines. This is a beautiful tuberose dominant white floral fragrance. I'm not going to go into all the notes and accords, but this also has, I believe, jasmine, orange blossom, a bunch of other white florals among other notes, but this is mainly a white floral dominant fragrance. You can smell that bubblegummy tuberose, slightly bubblegummy, not a lot, because it's natural oil. I'm pretty sure that's in here, not the synthetic tuberose. This is eau de toilette, by the way. Although this is eau de toilette, this lasts quite a nice while on my skin. It stays on for about 5 to 6 hours, which is quite nice, especially for eau de toilette. And on clothes, it lasts much longer. Gorgeous, beautiful springtime fragrance. This is Diptyque d'Ossonne. So this one in my hands is also a gorgeous white floral fragrance, very narcotic, hypnotic, and bewitching. This one has every beautiful white floral note imaginable in here, like pretty much every one of them. This one is Rouge Scandale Parfum Essence de Parfum. This one is from the Essence de Parfum line. You know, Rouge Scandale comes also in the regular eau de parfum version. This was sent to me by Rouge Parfums. Oh, this one. Such a perfect spring fragrance. Now this one has every beautiful white floral imaginable under the sun. Like there's gardenia, jasmine, tuberose, orange blossom, lily of the valley. It goes on. And then I think there's a little bit of rose in here too and a bunch of other notes. But this is very much a white floral dominant fragrance. It's really all about the white florals. This smells so hypnotic. This is actually almost kind of like sexy fragrance. You know, it's a sexy white floral. It's not just your average, you know, white floral fragrance. There's something sexy about it. Beautiful, perfect for spring. Love wearing this in the springtime. This is Rouge Scandale Essence de Parfum. So here I have a Memo Paris Granada. This one is such a beautiful, also white floral dominant fragrance. However, this is more than just white florals. There's something else interesting about this fragrance. Let me spray it first. Of course, this has beautiful white florals like African orange flower and jasmine, but this also has like grenadine, there's heliotrope. It's quite interesting. This has a nice, good dose of vanilla as well from that vanilla and tonka bean. Bunch of really beautiful notes, but what stand out the most are those white florals and the vanilla and the grenadine. It's a fantasy note, of course. Beautiful fragrance. I like wearing this in springtime more than summer, but it is something that I would wear spring and summer both. So this one is Granada by Memo Paris. This one is the Zerjoff Grand Bottle. This one is a very girly, playful fragrance. It's very feminine, very, very spring appropriate. This has some beautiful white florals like gardenia, jasmine, a little bit of a sweetness from the caramel in here, just a very light hint of caramel, not very detectable, not very heavy, not very like super noticeable. Also has a little bit of vanilla and maybe amber too, I think. Beautiful fragrance. This one is, you know, although there are a couple of gourmand notes in here, it's not heavy. See, that's the thing. You would think like when you say caramel, you immediately think like heavy gourmand fragrances you wear in, you know, like winter or colder months. No, 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 no. That's not the case with this. Caramel is there just very slightly, just to add a little bit of sweetness to it. It's mainly very fresh, white floral fragrance. Very, very girly. Very pretty. Love the frosted hot pink bottle. This is Zerjoff Grand Bottle. So the next one is also a Zerjoff fragrance. This one is a compliment getter. People love the way this smells. It smells again very like very feminine, ethereal, goddess-like. You know, that type of fragrance. This one is Zerjoff Dhamma Bianca. This one, it's new to my collection, fairly new, I guess, but I haven't had a chance to wear it too much, but I've worn it a few times. This one, I just love how pretty this smells. This smells like a pretty girl, like a pretty lady. It's not a very like strong scent at all. It's almost like, it's almost kind of like watery in a way, like it just almost disappears, but people can smell it weirdly enough. Like It's not one of those scents that just go right through your nose. It's very, very subtle, but it actually has good sillage and people pick it up. And it smells very, very feminine. It's a very unique scent because of that opening, like that very subtle, pretty freshness in the opening comes from that kumquat, which is like this kind of almost watery smelling fruit. It's right there in the opening, you can smell that. And it's there with a little bit of citrus, I think bergamot. But then this has a lot of beautiful blue purple florals that are very powdery, like violet, iris, you know, and lilac too, I believe. And then this has some ethereal, beautiful white florals like lily of the valley and jasmine. And in the base, this has malt, which I thought was an interesting note I wanted to mention, because that malt, you can actually smell, you know, like you kind of know what malt smells like, you know, like if you've ever had malt drinks, right? In the dry down, you can actually tell. It really does this beautiful, like interesting thing on the dry down, really. So it's there with like, of course, a bunch of other notes like vanilla, sandalwood, and, you know, a whole bunch of other notes, and musk too, obviously. There's a lot of musk in here, by the way, which makes it quite like attractive, you know. Beautiful, pretty scent. Men love this fragrance, how it smells on women. Very kind of goddess-like, ethereal, feminine fragrance. This is a fragrance that I like to wear in the summer as well. So spring, summer fragrance, in my opinion. This is Zerjoff Dhamma Bianca. Another recent addition to my fragrance collection. You all saw me do a full house review on this fragrance house. This is one of my die-hard loves. This is on my most loved fragrance list. This is going to be one of my top spring and summer fragrances. This is one that I will wear both in spring and summer. This one is none other than Kiss My Name by Roman Monagal. Again, I did a full house review. I'll link it up here and down in the description box. This fragrance house is really impressive. I'm very impressed by it. Just this fragrance right here, Kiss My Name, smells along the same line, so sort of similar to Fragrance de Bois Oud Jaune Intense, if you all know what that smells like. But I gotta tell you, it's not the exact same either. They're not dupes. This one is so pretty. This one has beautiful ylang ylang, you guys. That's what I smell the most. And there's tuberose. So that tuberose and ylang ylang, those are the two that I smell the most in this fragrance. There's a little slight spicy kick from the cloves, which is perfect if you ask me for this fragrance. I'm glad that's what they picked for a spicy note. Oh, this is such a bewitching scent. So pretty, so darn pretty. It's one of the most beautiful yellow white florals I've ever smelled in my life. That's saying a lot considering I have 400 plus fragrances. Oh, you guys, by the way, I got this from Twisted Lily, and I will link it down in the description box. This Roman Monagal fragrance house is not available on any discount websites. You can't buy it at any kind of discount, but this is available on Twisted Lily for lower than what it's usually selling. I think it's originally like 200 something, but on Twisted Lily it's 175. And then I have a 10% discount code for you guys, Cleo10. I'll link it all down in the description box. This is such a pretty spring summer fragrance. This is going to be one of my favorite scents for spring and summer. It's going to be one of my top vacation scents this year. This one is Roman Monagal, Kiss My Name. So the next fragrance is something that surprised me. I never expected to love it as much as I do, especially because it's from a fragrance house that I'm not usually a huge fan of, because their fragrances are of cologne concentration or eau de cologne, you know. So I'm not a huge fan, and you know, you guessed it. It is of course Jo Malone, and what I have in my hands is Scarlet Poppy by Jo Malone. I actually regret not getting the larger bottle. I was afraid, so I got the smaller one. I'm kicking myself now because I love this fragrance so much. This one is such a unique fragrance. This is something that is quite refreshing to smell, because you're so tired of smelling the same type of fragrances, and this one is very unique and very different because this has some crazy notes like poppy, you know, the flower, poppy flower. And there is a fig in here. There's muskmallow, that's amber red. There's barley in here. There are some powdery notes like heliotrope and I think orris. It is quite powdery, but that poppy note that's in here, that's really what makes this fragrance. It smells amazing, and I know that's the poppy that I'm smelling, that unique scent. And that barley, kind of like malt, how malt makes the Dhamma Bianca special. That barley really adds that unique touch to this fragrance on the dry down. It's quite hard to explain. This is such a beautiful fragrance. Highly, highly recommend it. This is a fragrance that I really prefer to wear in the springtime because it really complements that crisp spring air, you know? So yeah, this one is Jo Malone Scarlet Puppy. I'm not gonna spend too much time on the next fragrance because I talked about this to death. I absolutely adore this fragrance. It's from a fragrance house that I have a lot of fragrances from. I'm collecting them, in fact. I want to grow my collection. This one is none other than Royal Crown Isabella. This one is such a pretty, I mean, look at the bottle, so pretty. Guys, you can get Royal Crown fragrances for such an affordable price on Fragrance Buy. All the fragrances on Fragrance Buy are 100% authentic. Some person left a comment on my Royal Crown collection video saying, oh, that sounds suspicious. Actually, Fragrance Buy is a well-known and very popular fragrance retailer, just like Fragrance Net and Fragrance X. All those places are Fragrance Net, Fragrance X. Are they selling fragrances that aren't authentic? No, they're also selling authentic fragrances. I would not recommend any place that did not sell 100% authentic fragrances, so I'm not sure where that came from. But anyway, you can get Royal Crown fragrances on Fragrance Buy for like 1/5 of the price, you guys. It's unbelievable. Fragrance Buy is able to give such a large discounts the same way, say, Fragrance Net and Fragrance X do. They do wholesale. You know, that's what they do. They sell wholesale fragrances. They buy wholesale and sell, and they, you know, that's just how it works. Same way as Fragrance Net and Fragrance X and all those other places. You can buy any niche fragrance or designer fragrance on Fragrance Buy. They carry everything under the sun. I mean, you can get amazing niche fragrance house fragrances like Initio Perfumes, Parfums de Marly, BDK fragrances. I mean, name it, everything. And you can get everything for such amazing discounts. The day I discovered Fragrance Buy was the day my fragrance collection started to grow exponentially. This is such a beautiful fragrance, you guys. This has gorgeous florals like tuberose, rose. This has lots of vanilla and tonka bean, so lots of vanilla. And this has a little bit of booze, I think rum, which makes it super interesting. I love boozy florals. They are so unique. This also has like sandalwood and some other beautiful notes. This actually has a little bit of like Oriana vibes, but not exactly. Somebody even compared this to Love Don't Be Shy, but I wouldn't say it's even near close to that. It's one of those like white floral, soft gourmand kind of smelling fragrances, but this one is very unique because of the boozy note. But it has a little bit of that, you know, slight bit of Oriana vibes, but not a lot at all. They're very different. Like, I would not say they're dupes or even that close. But I just wanted to give you guys an idea. Love this one for springtime. The one thing with this is that it doesn't have the best longevity. It lasts for about 5-6 hours, which is what you should expect from a fragrance. But you know, these days we've become so spoiled that we want fragrances to last like forever, you know, 12 hours plus. This lasts the amount of time it's supposed to last, but doesn't last super long, you know. It's beautiful, very feminine. Love wearing this in springtime. Isabella by Royal Crown. Next, I have a very kind of unisex But to me, beautiful on women fragrance, again from Royal Crown. This one is a very unique one. This composition is very unique. I don't have anything like this in my collection. I will tell you why I love this. This is Royal Crown Czar. Look at that bottle. I love this soft touch, sort of soft matte bottle. Beautiful fragrance. This one is very, very unique. The composition is unique. This one, again, very much a unisex fragrance, I would say. This is very fresh, musky, white florally fragrance. This one has Lily of the Valley, which I absolutely adore. This has grapefruit in the opening, which is what most people tend to pick up in this fragrance. But to me, that Lily of the Valley is very prominent. That Lily of the Valley with the grapefruit really creates this unique scent, in my opinion. And there's a little bit of that nutmeg, that soft spice. I can smell the nutmeg. I really do. And then there's also a little bit of a zing from the black pepper, which is interesting. Again, that nutmeg and black pepper, you can actually smell that. You can smell the nutmeg, the soft spice, black pepper, which has a bit of a zing, you know. So what you smell the most are those citruses, like the grapefruit, the spices, and the Lily of the Valley for the most part. But there's also magnolia in here as well. There's a slight bit of like an earthiness from vetiver, and this has a large dose of musk. Whether it's revealed in the fragrance composition or not, I'm not sure. But definitely there's musk in this fragrance, which I really love. It's a very sort of fresh, white floral dominant, unique musky type fragrance for springtime. Perfect for that crisp, fresh, you know, slightly cold but not like mostly warm spring air, you know what I mean? But I must warn you, if you are a woman, some of you might find this more masculine leaning, because to some people that citrus kind of strike to them as like a masculine note, you know what I mean? But to me, this is kind of 50-50 because of the Lily of the Valley. But just warning you, not a safe blind buy if you are a woman especially. And some men, actually men might find this feminine. So it's like, that's the curse of like the perfectly unisex fragrances. I think it smells beautiful on me, and it would smell beautiful on a man, I'm sure, as well. This one is Royal Crown Czar. I have another Royal Crown in my hand that is a spring must-have in my opinion. This one is Royal Crown Alchemia. Ooh, is this the most pretty rose scent ever. Love the bottle, by the way. This one has Taif Rose, you guys. Taif Rose is the most delicate, beautiful, ethereal smelling rose fragrance note ever. Taif Rose is like no other. Not like Bulgarian rose, not like Turkish rose. Taif Rose is very delicate, very much a delicate, almost like, you know, like peony, you know, not exactly like peony, but that type of rose, you know. It has a bit of an oriental vibe to it, the Taif Rose. This is a beautiful fragrance. That Taif Rose is what makes this fragrance. Taif Rose is on two different layers of this fragrance, top and middle both. There's Bulgarian rose in the middle as well. I think there's a little bit of lily, and there's like peach blossom, there's jasmine, a little bit of honey, there's a little bit of oud. This has definitely a little bit of an oriental vibe from the oud and the Taif Rose. This also has a little bit of myrrh and a little bit of ambergris. You know, myrrh has that sort of oriental vibe as well. And then ambergris has that sort of like marine sort of vibes, which gives this like this freshness, you know, like that ambergris freshness. Hard to describe, like ambrox and ambergris kind of freshness. Although these are marketed as unisex fragrances, this one I find to be very feminine. It's a spring must-have for me. I love wearing this in the springtime. You can wear it in the summer as well, but I prefer to wear it in the springtime with that beautiful, crisp, clean air. This is Royal Crown Alchemia. Y'all know this one is a spring must-have. I mean, this has got spring written all over it. This one's none other than Perfumes de Delina. Not Delina exclusive, not Delina La Rose, Those two are for two other different seasons. Delina Exclusive is for winter. La Rose is strictly for summer, in my opinion. Now this one right here is a spring scent. So yeah, this one, you guys, has that, as we all know, beautiful Turkish rose. There's that lychee, that fruitiness from the lychee. That's, you know, such a beautiful fragrance note, lychee. Very beautiful fruity note. This has that little bit of like greenness and sourness from the rhubarb that cuts through the sweetness of this fragrance. This has a little hint of incense, if I remember correctly. Other than like Turkish rose, I think this has Petalia, peony, some really pretty florals, which are perfect to have in a spring fragrance, you know. And then it has a little bit of, you know, woody hints, little bit of earthiness from, I think, maybe vetiver. I love that green sour rhubarb cutting through this fragrance for springtime. In my opinion, it's the only time it's appropriate for that slight greenness in the fragrance. I love wearing fragrances with a little bit of green in the springtime. Lots of florals and fruitiness too, and a little bit of green, which is what this is. This is Parfums de Harley Delina. Speaking of Parfums de Harley, I have another one from that fragrance house in my hands. Now I also have Meliora and Cassili. Those two I like to wear in the summer mostly, especially Meliora. It's a very refreshing fruity fragrance that I find to be better in the summertime, whereas what I have in my hands I like wearing in the springtime. This one is Parfums de Harley Safanad. This one has some beautiful white florals like orange blossom, and there's yellow florals like ylang ylang. There is powdery florals like iris. It's a beautiful melody of different kinds of florals. You know, it opens with a little bit of fruitiness from pear and some citrus, I think, like mandarin orange. And then there's vanilla and amber too, I think, in the base. This one I like to wear in the springtime because it's just a little bit deeper, slightly thicker than, like, let's say Cassili or Meliora, which I prefer to wear in the summertime. So yeah, this one is Parfums de Harley Safanad. So I have a very sweet, beautiful, soft gourmand white floral fragrance in my hands from Parfums de Harley again. This one is Oriana. I love wearing Oriana type fragrances, the soft gourmand white floral fragrances in spring, because it's just the right balance between, you know, florals and a little bit of sweetness and freshness. This has some beautiful citruses in the opening, like mandarin orange and other citruses, and which gives it a nice, beautiful citrus opening. And then those citruses really mesh well with these soft gourmand notes in the base, like the chantilly cream. I think maybe there's marshmallow too. There's vanilla. Those citruses in the opening and those soft gourmands in the base, they really mesh well. And then you get those beautiful, like, white florals like orange blossom in the middle. There's a little bit of fruitiness as well, but it's mainly those citruses and the soft gourmands that you smell the most in here. I think it's beautiful and perfect for springtime, because in the spring there's still a little bit of slight hint of cold crispness in the air, whereas summertime is too boiling hot for this fragrance, if you ask me. Next I have a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful powdery fragrance that I love wearing in the springtime. This is a fragrance that you can wear even in the colder months. It's quite strong, I would say, but still that powderiness is perfect for springtime. By the way, did I tell you I love wearing powdery fragrances, like any of those blue purple florals like lilac, heliotrope, iris, violet, you know, those type of florals I love wearing in the springtime because they're the perfect complement to that crisp, clean spring air. This one is Lilac, Love by Amwaj. This one is quite a unique fragrance, very powdery, very, very powdery. Since I've been spraying everything, I'm gonna spray everything, although none of these really need to be sprayed. You can smell them right from the atomizer. This has lilacs. Those lilacs smell so pretty. Have you guys ever smelled lilacs when they're blooming? So beautiful. Heliotrope in here and a bunch of other florals. like gardenia, peony, jasmine, rose, like bunch of other florals. And the special thing about this fragrance is that this has cacao powder, which is also like, which adds to that powderiness in this fragrance, if you ask me, but adds a little bit of an interesting gourmet twist to it, but complements the powderiness, if you ask me, you know, in this fragrance. And this also has vanilla and tonka bean, which I think tonka bean is a perfect complement to that cacao powder in this fragrance. And it has, I think, orris too, which is yet another powdery note. Very powdery, very feminine, very like springtime appropriate fragrance. This one is Amwaj Lilac Love. So the next one is also from Amwaj, and this one is a very, how do I say, it's not a very shy kind of white floral. It's a very much a sharp white floral fragrance. That's the only way I know how to explain this one. This one is Amwaj Portrayal Woman. This one is not for the faint at heart. I'm gonna tell you that much. This is not your average jasmine fragrance at all. If you're looking for an innocent, everyday, run-of-the-mill, pretty la-di-da jasmine, this is not for you. This one is a very strong, sharp jasmine fragrance. Why is it sharp? Because it has some interesting notes in here like LMI and tobacco. Well, so hold on a second. Don't be taken aback. You don't smell the tobacco like, ooh, tobacco, that tobacco smell. No, no, no. It's in there with LMI, adding this sort of sharpness to that very strong jasmine scent, kind of elevating it, right? And LMI is this sort of piney, balsamic fragrance note. So mixed with the LMI, the tobacco isn't that strong. Like, you can smell the sharpness, but you can almost not say where the sharpness is coming from. You can't really say, oh, that's tobacco or that's LMI, you know? It elevated the jasmine to another level. Let's just put it that way. So it's a very sharp jasmine scent with some interesting fragrance notes in it. I'm telling you, not a safe blind buy, but I absolutely adore it. It's a very, very sharp, long-lasting fragrance that is amazing when it comes to performance. Amazing for springtime because of that strong jasmine scent, that elevated jasmine scent. And this is actually a white floral you could even wear in the winter time. But I really like this for spring with that sort of crisp, clean air, slightly cold. Not one for hot summer days, would not recommend it. It's too sharp. For hot summer days, this one is Portrayal Woman by Amwaj. Of course, I had to recommend Killian Love Don't Be Shy for spring. This is one of my favorite sweet white floral fragrances to wear in the springtime. I love that honeysuckle, the beautiful orange blossom. Love that marshmallow. You know the fragrance notes in this fragrance. This has got sugar, straight up sugar. It's a very sweet fragrance. It's mainly white floral dominant. It's got a little bit of citruses too. Beautiful, beautiful scent. My favorite time to wear this fragrance is springtime because I feel like this performs the best when the weather's not too cold and not too hot, right? This is perfect for that crisp spring days, spring nights even. And I also recommend Love Don't Be Shy Extreme, which I have in a decant now. Why, you ask? Because I dropped it and broke it. You guys know I had the extreme version. I absolutely adore it. I love it even more than this. By the way, I'm telling you, if you ever doubt which of the two is better, get the extreme, because that one is a compliment getter. This one too, but that one in particular, something about the extreme, Love Don't Be Shy Extreme, is more elevated, heightened. That rose scent in there is more heightened. People love it. So I have it in a decant, so I'm not going to show the decant. But I recommend Love Don't Be Shy and Love Don't Be Shy Extreme for spring. Next I have a very kind of synthetic tuberose fragrance. It's very beautiful. This one is Monsara Velvet Vanilla. This one, you guys, is a very much a bubblegummy tuberose scent, but that artificial or synthetic tuberose, which is why it's very bubblegummy. I think this is a very, very pretty spring summer fragrance. It's quite strong, projection, sillage, lasting power, amazing. It's got like not just, you know, tuberose, but like jasmine, neroli, and other white florals. It's got a huge dose of vanilla, which is why it's called velvet vanilla, of course. There are like fruity notes, citrus notes. There's a lot of musk. Yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful bubblegummy tuberose scent. That's what you smell the most, the bubblegummy tuberose, which is beautiful and perfect for spring. This one is Monsara Velvet Vanilla. I have a Bond number 9 fragrance here that I love to wear in the spring and summer. This one is Bond number 9 Central Park West. This one is a gorgeous white yellow floral fragrance. Oh, so good. This one has ylang ylang, narcissus, gardenia, jasmine. Lots of gorgeous florals. It's quite musky. It's a little bit earthy. I just love and there are some woody notes as well. Love, love, love this sort of like white yellow florals for spring and summer. This one is one that can go from spring to summer. Especially love to wear this in the springtime. Bond number 9 Central Park West. Last but not least, I have 2 fragrances that have one of my favorite notes for spring summer. It is aldehydes, because aldehydes actually give you this sort of sunny vibes in your brain. Like when I smell aldehydes, immediately I think of sunny days, sun, you know what I'm saying? So that's kind of like the vibe it gives me. These 2 I really love wearing in the spring because it reminds me of like the warmer days to come. First one is Killian Woman in Gold. So this one is too much for hot summer days. I wear this in the summer too, but not blazing hot summer days. This one is actually, to me, perfect for spring because it's still good, you know, with a little, it's not too hot yet. And the aldehydes still give you these sunny vibes, you know. This has got aldehydes, a lot of citruses, a lot of vanilla. This has got a lot of vanilla and tonka bean, I think. This has got like, you know, florals like rose, geranium. It's really mostly about the aldehydes and the vanilla. So to me, what I smell the most in this fragrance are the aldehydes, the citruses, and the vanilla. It's really beautiful, gives me sunny vibes, but it's maybe not the best one for like blazing hot summer days, but summertime too, spring and summer, but not maybe like the hottest of summer days. This one is Woman in Gold by Killian. Last but not least, I have a very expensive niche fragrance in my hands. This one is not cheap. This one is from one of the most prestigious fragrance houses in the country. This one is, of course, Kriegler Abracadabra. This one is another beautiful aldehyde fragrance. I'm not going to spray this one. It's just like 10 bucks every time you spray this, more like 20 bucks, you know. Yeah, very much like an aldehyde fragrance. This has beautiful white florals like Lily of the Valley, which I find is perfect for springtime. This is not for like the blazing hot summer days, although I like to wear it sometimes in the not so hot summer days too, but this to me more of a spring fragrance, you know. This has a lot of citruses. Every time you get aldehydes, there are usually citruses. They complement each other. Like I said, Lily of the Valley, and then hawthorn too, hawthorn flower in here as well. There's lots of vanilla and tonka bean, I believe. Come to think of it, Woman in Gold and this have some fragrance notes in common, right? Yeah, this one though smells quite different from Woman in Gold, but I love aldehyde fragrances for springtime, especially if the composition's like this. This one is Kriegler Abracadabra 221. So that's it. Those are all my fabulous springtime specific niche fragrances. I would love to know what your favorite niche fragrances are for springtime. Chime down below and also tell me if you are like me and you have fragrances you like to specifically wear in spring and not in the summer, and vice versa, you know. And then of course there are some that you like to wear in spring and summer, but most of the time I have my favorites for spring and I have my favorites for summer, because there's a difference, you know what I'm saying? Do you agree? Let me know down in the comment section. I would love to hear from you, your thoughts, because that's really always nice to have a conversation with you all. And thank you all for submitting testimonials for me for Sephora Squad 2022. I'm very, very touched and thankful to all of you who already submitted testimonials. Thank you so much. You are the best. And all of you who are also going to submit testimonials, thank you so very much. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up so I know you love my videos, and subscribe to my channel if you have not yet. Ring the notification bell next to it so you will never miss any of my videos. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram. I will see you guys in my next video.